3. Travel, tourism, and transport, B2. Traveling has become an essential part of modern life. Some people travel to relax, others travel for work, education, or cultural experiences. Nowadays, international tourism is more accessible than ever because air travel has become cheaper and transport systems have improved significantly. However, tourism also creates environmental and social problems, especially in popular destinations. Personally, I enjoy traveling because it allows people to discover new places, traditions, and lifestyles. Even short trips can help people relax mentally and escape daily routines. At the same time, I do not support pointless tourism where people travel only to take photos for social media without learning anything about the country itself. Speaking about transport, I currently live in Murcia, and in general, the transport system here is relatively convenient. Buses, trains, and roads are decent compared to many places. Nevertheless, there are still several problems. For example, public transport schedules are not always comfortable, especially in smaller areas or late in the evening. Sometimes connections between towns could be organized much better. In addition, some people depend too heavily on private cars because public transport is not fast enough. Traffic jams and parking difficulties can become frustrating, particularly during tourist seasons. On the other hand, Murcia is not as overcrowded as huge metropolitan cities, so the situation remains manageable overall. One of my most memorable travel experiences happened a few years ago when I visited another country for the first time after a long, stressful period. I had been working intensely before that trip, so traveling felt refreshing and emotionally important. I enjoyed discovering unfamiliar streets, local food, and cultural differences. What impressed me most was the atmosphere and communication with local residents. Unfortunately, not every journey becomes successful. I once experienced a difficult trip because flights had been delayed several times due to bad weather conditions. As a result, passengers became exhausted, stressed, and frustrated. Situations like this demonstrate how dependent modern tourism is on air transport systems. Air travel itself has both advantages and disadvantages. On the positive side, planes allow people to travel enormous distances quickly. Without aviation, international tourism and global business cooperation would not have developed so rapidly. Nowadays, somebody can work remotely in one country while traveling through another continent, can't they? However, aviation also damages the environment considerably. Sustainable travel has therefore become an increasingly popular topic. Many people are trying to reduce unnecessary flights, choose trains instead of planes, or support environmentally responsible tourism. In my opinion, sustainable travel means respecting local culture, nature, and infrastructure. Tourists should not leave rubbish everywhere or behave irresponsibly simply because they are on holiday. In some countries, mass tourism has already created serious problems. Historic city centers become overcrowded, housing prices increase dramatically, and local residents suffer from constant noise and pressure. For example, some famous European cities have been affected heavily by mass tourism during recent years. Residents sometimes complain that city centers are turning into giant tourist attractions instead of comfortable places to live. Moreover, natural areas can also be damaged if too many tourists visit them without proper control. Another issue concerns social media influence on tourism. Nowadays, certain places become overcrowded simply because influencers promote them online. People often travel to trendy destinations instead of exploring less famous but equally interesting locations. Personally, I prefer calmer places where it is possible to enjoy the atmosphere peacefully instead of standing in endless queues for photographs. Technology has also transformed traveling completely. Smartphones provide navigation, hotel booking, translation tools, and online tickets in seconds. Years ago, travelers used to carry maps and paper documents everywhere. Today, most information can be stored digitally. At the same time, digital dependence can occasionally create problems. If the internet connection disappears or the phone battery dies, some travelers feel completely lost. Therefore, basic preparation and planning still remain essential. In the future, transport systems will probably become more ecological and automated. Electric vehicles, high-speed railways, and improved public transport may reduce pollution levels. If governments invest more money into sustainable infrastructure, traveling could become both more efficient and environmentally friendly. To sum up, traveling provides unforgettable experiences, cultural knowledge, and relaxation. Nevertheless, tourism also creates environmental and social challenges that should not be ignored. In my view, people should travel responsibly, respect local communities, and maintain balance between comfort and sustainability. If tourism is managed wisely, future generations will also be able to enjoy beautiful places around the world.